get going. Now then, this place is such a mess, it really is. In England, around the capital city, is our glorious, prized possession, the M25 car park. Now then, the M25 is busy. It's busy every day of the year, 24 hours a day. Very unusual to go around the M25 and not be reduced to either parking or, you know, really slow 20, 30 mile an hour. Very unusual. And if you do keep going on the M25, you know, if you don't stop, it's considered a pretty good go, a pretty good route, a pretty good, a successful drive. I've got the Now then, this place is such a mess. Just lately, there have been some protesters that have decided to sit down across the road on the motorway. Now we're talking a 3-lane motorway. They've been on the on-ramps, the off-ramps, whatever they've been on, but they've been on them and they've sat down in the road. Now, you know, I'm all for a bit of protest. You go protest with what you want to talk about, and you protest with what you want to believe in. But what I don't like, and I really don't like it, is when people protest and it immediately affects the lives of many people. Now, when they sat down in that road, the M25 comes to a stop. Now, when the M25 comes to a stop, there's going to be a tailback of miles, 5, 10 miles at least. So you can imagine how long, if you're stuck at the end of that, or 8 miles down the road, you can imagine how long it's going to take them just to get to where they were sitting. So of course, there's a demonstration. I'll put the pictures up so you can see them. I'll move us. So I can put them over there. This place is such a tip. Oh, man alive. Yeah. Get off here. Yeah. When it affects other people, that's when it's time to sort of think about what you're doing. Now think about how much of a do-gooder you really are. Now then, I'll get into that. Of course, every country in the civilised world has a police force that is, you know, reasonable. You might not think the police are reasonable in your area. Well, that's down to you. That's down to you. I think the police force are reasonable. There are some forces that ain't reasonable. And when it comes to those forces, even the police know what forces they are. I never said Hertfordshire. Did I say Hertfordshire traffic? I didn't say that, did I? I did. They are bad. They are well known to be bad, even in the police force. Anyway, such a tip. Police came along. I'll put the pictures. Police came along, and you think, great. Oh, this fucking thing's doing my head in. Police come along and you think, great, they're going to move them. They're going to get these little fuckers out of the way. Now, They did nothing. The police did nothing. Some lorry drivers came along, they got out their cabs, they walked down to the front and they went to physically remove these people out of the road. And bear in mind how dangerous this is. The police were arresting the lorry drivers for trying to move the protesters. If you was to say common sense, you'd say, get out of the road. Go and sit outside the Parliament. Go and sit outside your council offices. Go and sit somewhere that's less likely to get you killed and less likely to cause an accident further down the road. And less likely to have such an impact on the ordinary people, because that's who it affected. It didn't affect those that were protesting, the old farts and the college people and the people that haven't got a job and got nothing else to do except for whinge about something. Didn't affect them. Charlie, Charlie. Yeah, so they've done this for a couple of days. Now after a couple of days, after a couple of days, the police did something. They actually moved off they moved the protesters off the road as they were setting up. But they only done that after public outrage and the Home Office getting involved. Everyone has a right to reasonable protest. This was not reasonable protest. It was endangerment to life. In fact, one person said they were late for their council appointment. Now that's not reasonable protest. What's wrong with them? You can understand that they want to protest about something. You can understand that they've got something to protest about. But the method that they chose was ridiculous, dangerous, and I am sure, illegal on many counts. There was a local calf, they walked into that and the bloke wouldn't serve them. That says you something about what the public thought of those people. You can ask somebody out of London what they thought about it and they'll probably say, well yes, we should protest, blah, 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 blah. You talk to a few hundred people on the M25 that got held up that day, some of them for very important appointments to do with their life, they will disagree with you. So, so if you want to protest in the right way. Do it right. Don't have an effect which is to the detriment of normal, average people going about their work and daily life. Quite upset about it, I really was. I was in London, so I'm drinking. I don't actually like the taste of it. I don't like the taste of it, it's horrible. Yeah, I was in London. I was in Romford in London, and I was looking after a family member. She fell over, broke her wrist, or fractured her wrist, fractured her elbow, arm, and fractured her hip or pelvis, something like that. She's 95 years old. And all I kept thinking was, there's a lot of people out there who may have needed an ambulance on that road. There's a lot of people out there that might have been going to their elderly relative because they needed help. There's a lot of people out there that were going about business that wasn't just popping around the M25 for something to do. So if any of you protesters actually tune into this video, I don't agree. I can't agree with your cause because I don't know what it is. Your cause was overshadowed by what you've done. Nobody paid attention to what you wanted. All they did was pay attention to the effect you had on normal people. I'll leave it there. I don't know what it was called. I really don't. It was Insulate Britain or something. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous and dangerous. Right, leave it there, guys. Short video. I'm going to complain. I want to keep talking about matters that are in the public eye, things that I am interested in. It won't be just about bikes and stuff from now on. I'm going to get more serious because there's lots of serious issues out there. A few days after I made this video, they did it again. They did it again. They went on the M25 and they tried stopping the traffic and all that. And they succeeded. But this time the police interfered. Now, why didn't they? I don't know why they didn't do this in the first place. I really, really don't. The police have got to get tough on this. When you saw the BLM marches in London, the police were in, short sleeve shirts and they were kneeling and bowing and doffing their caps to all the protesters there. And when it came to other marches, like, I don't know, which were peaceful marches, full riot gear. Now the police have got their decision making arse about face. And I blame Cressida Dick. I put the blame firmly on Cressida Dick and the London Mayor, Sad Khan. I think that's what he's called anyway. But anyway, the police actually done something. So I'll put a photo of that in there and on here. And we'll just have to keep an eye on the situation because it's a developing situation. And they say they're not going to stop until something is done. I think the M25 protest is a protest to slow traffic down in order to use less fuel. Now, in my mind, the M25 is a slow fucking motorway anyway, excuse the language, because it's so busy. It's so busy, so nothing is really going that fast. Absolute stupidity. If they want to protest, go do it somewhere else. I'll tell you what, go and protest on runway 1 at Heathrow. That's fairly busy. Go and do that at rush hour, which is 24 hours a day. Go and do that.